How's it going, everybody? My name is Álvaro Rubio, and today I decided to do a bit of a Q&A to celebrate the fact that this channel has hit 10,000 subscribers completely out of nowhere. Before we actually get to the Q&A, I do really want to say thank you to every single one of you that's been supporting an insane amount. Like, it's still difficult for me to fathom that there's people that genuinely consider themselves fans of me, and just seeing all the really nice comments and even all the fan art that's been made. Like, it's, I don't know, it's a strange thing, but I just want you guys to know that you are making my dream become a reality. And so I love every single one of you guys, and I hope you're having a great day. But without further ado, let's start looking at the questions. So the first one says, what's your favorite Beatles song? And dude, that's like picking your favorite child, man. I can either answer this question in terms of like all-time favorites or current ones that I've been listening to a lot, because the current stuff changes all the time. I had an Abbey Road phase with like the medley and all that. I had a White Album phase, a heavy White Album phase, honestly. Heavy Revolver phase. I think that's still my favorite album by them. Sgt. Pepper phase. A little bit of a Rubber Soul one. I can say that my all-time favorites, I'm definitely more of a John Lennon guy, and I think most of my top favorite ones are songs by him, whether that be Strawberry Fields Forever, I'm the Walrus. I mean, it fits the psychedelic stuff that I'm into so much. Also, A Day in the Life. But in terms of like current favorite ones, I've been listening to a lot of Paul recently. I just love the bass lines he comes up with. I feel like he has a very sweet melodic style, very similar to Brian Wilson, and I'm more of a Brian Wilson person myself, so go figure. But yeah, in terms of like current favorites, if I had to rank them in no particular order, top three would probably be You Won't See Me, um, She Said from Revolver, and I Will from the White Album. That one just gets me really emotional. Next one, will you get your mustache back, and what inspired you to make music? I don't know if you can tell, for the audiences at home, but we grew it back. I gotta say, like, it's so funny just relating to the mustache, because that came at just from such a whim. That was literally just me liking the Weeknd's sort of Mexican type mustache that he had in the After Hours era, and also the one John Lennon had during his Sgt. Pepper's phase. And I just said, like, why don't I try that out? And people loved it so much that it just became like innate to my personality. And what inspired you to make music? So I've been going through like a weird transition, which is a positive one, and it's not something I'm complaining about at all. Um, but in the sense that music for me, for the longest time, and really just art in general, has always been a sort of introverted action for me. I grew up struggling with, certain bouts of mental health struggles and whatnot. And as a kid, I felt definitely a deep sense of loneliness. And because of that, for me, art was always my way of, at least just for myself, expressing that like unconscious side of myself, which obviously is difficult to put in just words. I found that the beauty of music was being able to paint things which are impossible to paint, for example, emotions and whatnot. And so for me, music started off like that. Started off as a very introverted practice, as a very sort of almost like soul searching to a certain extent. And what I mean by the transition that I was referring to is that thankfully it's starting to become a much more social activity, and I'm starting to find an unbelievable amount of joy just getting together with four great friends and just coming up with stuff, you know what I mean? And I'm happy that that's the case. I feel like it would become too serious if it was purely just a isolated practice, you know what I mean? The next question, who's your biggest inspiration musically? And I swear to God, this is going to tire the people that stick around. The answer will always be Animal Collective for me. Animal Collective, for those who don't know, is an American, again, psychedelic, experimental pop band. And to me, they are just the greatest thing ever. I am an unbelievable fan of them. And their music is so unique and otherworldly and true to themselves, that it's rewired my brain, not just in terms of how I make music, because there is absolutely a defining point of before and after having discovered them, but also just in terms of my life and shaping me to be the person that I am now. I owe so much to Animal Collective. It's practically idolatry for me in this case. In this case, I remember vividly being 15 years old, and was going through a rough patch, and maybe it was 2 in the morning, a summer night, and I'd been wanting to listen to this album with a cool cover art called Merriweather Post Pavilion. And I went to bed, just lied down, closed my eyes, headphones on, and again, it changed everything for me, because it felt simultaneously super familiar and super nostalgic of feelings and even memories that I had as a child, but also very, very futuristic and again, otherworldly, surreal, unbelievably surreal. To this day, that is my favorite album of all time, and there's not even a close comparison. And I think what I love so much about them, and what's really inspired me so heavily, is their ability to retain that sort of childhood joy and imagination, just pure imagination and lack of being self-conscious, and putting it on display in the most colorful and vivid way possible. And again, they really have no self-conscious. Like, they will do anything to service the song, whether it be wild vocal performances, super strange samples and song structures and time signatures, and it just, I don't know, every time I listen to their music, it doesn't matter what album, because every album sounds completely different. I just get super, super happy. 13 minutes and we've only gotten to 3 questions. God damn it. For how long do you think you will make music? I can definitely see myself making music my whole life. You guys have to understand, like, I've been engaged in being sort of artsy in nature. I mean, without exaggeration, my whole life. Like, there really hasn't been like a second hobby for me. I was never really into sports. Now I go to the gym and I exercise quite a bit, and I try to have alternative hobbies, like trying to read and whatnot. But for me, like, my whole life revolves around music, especially now that I've been studying music production for the past 3 years. The fact that I mix and master and produce for a bunch of clients, even if it isn't my music, I'm always doing something music related. It's the only thing that I think about, and it's funny because it could have went a completely different direction, because I didn't have a backup plan as a kid. Like, I wasn't planning on studying, to be a doctor or anything like that. So if this failed, then I'd be a bit screwed. But thankfully, it's sometimes during rough patches, you really just have to just think of what you're grateful of. And for me, like, the fact that my life is just surrounded by music, like, it's maybe the biggest blessing in the world for me. Would you rather be fairly popular all around, or really popular in a specific niche genre? And I mean super niche. I'd say the first one, but I guess the caveat would be that I feel like my goal with my music is, I want to try to be as popular or as successful as possible, while still following the core tenets that make my music true to me, which in my case is all the surrealism, all the dream logic, just being able to experiment and still be able to make that music that sort of paints my unconscious mind, like I was talking before. What's your favorite artist to collab with, in order? I mean, to be fair, I haven't really collaborated with a lot of people. I think the 2 that I enjoyed the most are Luca Ferraro, who you guys probably have heard the songs that I've done with him. He's a buddy of mine from back when I used to live in Montreal, Canada. I mean, he just makes pure bangers. Like, every single song is insane. And then besides that, I'd probably say Roque, who's my best friend, and we've collaborated on quite a few different songs. All of them a completely different genre. I don't know, just with him, we seem to have similar tastes in a lot of senses, and we both enjoy similar stuff. when it comes to song structures. And every song we made, I feel like is a banger. I feel like they're very underrated. And a similar question with which people would you love to have a collab with? And I mean that's difficult. I would obviously have to put Animal Collective just because of how much I've been nerding out about them, but I'll stop mentioning them. Definitely a lot of the people in the sort of neo soul world I would love to death to work with, whether that be Kaliutis, or I guess we can lump Tyler the Creator in that. I feel like that'd be pretty cool to work on something with him. Some guys that I would absolutely kill to make a song with are Catriel and Paco Amoroso, which are these two Argentinian guys that blew up this year. And I went to their concert with Roque this summer, and it was no exaggeration the best concert I'd ever been to. Like, it was insane how good it was. I have another question. Will you ever grow a long ass beard like one Santa has? And can you do this with your mustache? And he shows this. Yeah, absolutely fucking not. I have a buddy of mine, Xander Graziano. Yes, I'm putting his full name on blast because he decides to ask me, how big is it? Um, is it necessary, Xander? You know what I mean? Is it necessary at all? You fucking piece of shit. Which one of your songs was the most fun to make? You know what? I have to pick between two. Low key, funny you should say that, was made basically in a day. 4 guys just having fun, coming up with a bunch of random ideas, and that was probably the most fun I had during the summer. So I'd probably say that. But also Bajo el Sol had a very similar logic where I spent a whole week in Córdoba, Andalucía, in the south of Spain, because that's where Roque is at. Yeah, we just spent a whole week working on this song, and I'd never done anything like flamenco related. I love flamenco to death. Obviously, this is much more of like a weird rumba, R&B sort of fusion. But still, we made it our own. We had fun with it. People coming in and out of the studio, left, right, and center. Like, it was a lot of fun. You know what I mean? We had everyone collaborate. Some guy would like mumble a melody at one point, and I tell him like, "What did you just do?" I'm like, "Sing it right now." You know what I mean? So that was also a lot of fun, and I feel like it was a longer period of time having fun. So I'll probably go with that. What is your favorite game? Oof, oof, oof. Another life-changing piece of media. Super Mario Galaxy, bar none. I think it maybe even ties Animal Collective, which is like life-changing art, because it's art. Like that game is objectively art. The visuals. I mean, you can see in my computer. Well, actually, hold up. You can see in very bad quality, my desktop is the Gateway Galaxy, and to me, it's just like this. For me, feels like what heaven is like. Like, I feel like if I were to die and go to heaven, this would be heaven. You know, I would hope it is. You know, but what more can be said about it? You know what I mean? Like, the music is, I would argue, the greatest soundtrack music of all time, and I say it rivals even classical pieces. As a game, it's unbelievably fun. But again, like, for me, what made the game so special was it gave room for a 4-5-year-old me to just close my eyes and just imagine to my heart's content. Every world was a starting canvas that I can just expand on through my imagination and go deeper into, with the music accompanying it. It was a very like beautiful thing. I don't know how to explain it. It activated the child's imagination in a way that very few things have, in my opinion. And to this day, I feel like a lot of subtle decisions that I make in my art are very, very influenced by Mario Galaxy. What's your favorite type of music? I am actually one of those people that listens to everything, and I do mean everything, whether it be 60s girl pop music, Javanese gamelan, long 30-minute ambient pieces, very noisy soundscape stuff. An album that I discovered recently, which has basically become my second favorite album ever in a super quick amount of time, is Broadcast and the Focus Group, their collaboration called Investigate Witch Cults of the Radio Age. And it's this very horror-inspired, very surreal, sound collage-y, just sort of odyssey. Like, it feels more so like an auditory movie than a collection of songs. But I think what all of those different genres have in common for me, or the ones that I listen to the most, they all have some sort of psychedelic or surreal quality to them. I think like that's really the main thing. If there is a level of psychedelia to the music, I'll probably engage with it because, again, it's very dreamlike. I like music that can make me close my eyes and sort of imagine a world in it. You know what I mean? And to a certain extent, I feel you can do that with most music, but I'll give a good example. One of the first artists that I got really, really into when I was like 10 years old was Michael Jackson. And I mean, no disrespect, he's obviously one of the greatest of all time. But when it comes to Michael Jackson, I never really was able to imagine sort of these vivid worlds. Every time his music played, what I would see when I closed my eyes is just him, the musicians behind him, and maybe him hitting a move or two, who knows. But it isn't something like dub reggae, which is another one of my favorite genres, with all its like strange tape delays and spring reverbs, and just creating this sort of murky, swampy sort of world that just seems to go on and on and on. It's a different type of music, but I feel like the second one that I just mentioned is the one that appeals to me more than the former, I guess. See, this is the best comment I just got right now. Are you having a nice day? Have a nice day. I just woke up, but honestly, I've been having a good week. Let me hit you with that. And thank you very much for the concern, and I hope you're having a nice day, hopefully nice week. Christmas is coming soon. My birthday is coming super soon. That's the 16th of December for those who want to remember. And I think these are the last ones I can properly respond to. For all of you that have submitted questions, thank you so much. And thank you to everyone that's stuck around to listen to me talk, I guess. The growth that I've been seeing on this channel, just in my music in general, is mind-blowing, and I promise I'm going to keep the momentum going. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Hopefully we do one for 100K when that ends up happening. So, peace.
Feel like I'm on Molly. Feel like I'm Casino, tío! Casino!